Due to an electrical outage, I responded to this generator site. The customer explained that they lost commercial power, but the building's power never came back on, even though they had a backup generator. So I went to the site to see what was going on. Upon my arrival, I noticed that commercial power had already came back, so I decided to check the unit to see what was going on. While trying to conduct a functional test of the generator, I noticed that the generator display screen was dead. And the most possible reason for the screen being dead is the batteries. Normally you have dead batteries. So I went ahead to check the batteries out to see what was going on. While taking a look around inside the system, I was checking to see if they had a external battery charger connected. I checked within the unit and I also checked within the ATS, and I noticed there was no external battery charger connected on this generator. So that could have been a possible reason why the batteries drained, because they could either be drained from the display screen being on or just from some reason. So it's always good to have a battery charger, an external battery charger connected. So I decided to install one, and the best place to install it would be at either of those 2 points right there. I went back to get the battery charger. So here we have a dual voltage battery charger. It can either be 12 volts or 24 volts. And also I'm going to replace the batteries because both batteries were dead. So here I have two 12 volt Optima batteries. They're pretty common in generators and in cars. Right here I have the incoming power source that's going to be powering the battery charger. It is coming from the ATS. I just topped off the ATS so I could have the power source go into the battery charger. Right now I'm just removing one of the panels to the alternator compartment. I'm just removing it to make sure there's nothing behind it before I start drilling into it, because this is where I'm going to be installing the battery charger on the opposite side. So sometimes on the inside of these panels you could have like a voltage regulator or something on the panel. So it's best to check before you start drilling inside. So I'm just basically taking it off just to see if anything inside. Then after, I could just go straight ahead with installing the battery charger. Depending on a specific generator, you could install the battery charger on the inside walls of the generator. But on this specific unit, it has noise canceling foam. So in order not to mess with the integrity of the sound quality, it's best to just install it on the alternator panel right there. As you can see, there is nothing on the inside walls, so we could go ahead and install it on either of the panels basically. this specific battery charger, it can either be powered by 230 volts or 115 volts, and that is AC voltage. It has the voltage selector switch or right here, where you can use to switch between whichever voltage you're using as your power source. So 115 or 230. A few key things to note on this battery charger that could sometimes go wrong. You have a fuse right here. This fuse sometimes will be blown, so you could just replace that. And down here, this is where you have your incoming power source. So this is your commercial power source or AC voltage. And on this side, this is where you have your DC voltage going to your battery. Now I'm getting ready to mount the battery charger on the side panel. I reinstalled the cover of the battery charger. This way I do not damage any of the internal components. I'm just going to use self-tapping screws to mount the battery charger. You could either use self-tapping screws or you could use a nut and bolt to hold it on. So whichever is your preference. The current generator set that I'm working on is a Cummins, and the model is a C450D. It is a 360 kW, 240 416 volts generator set. This is normally one of your more reliable units. You don't normally find too much issues with these units, more than the regular dead batteries and so on. You want to make sure that the battery charger is pretty snug and secure to the panel, because you don't want it to fall off during the generator's operation due to vibration. Now that I'm finished mounting the battery charger, I'm gonna just go ahead and put the panel back on, because there is no remaining need to be inside there or have the panel being off. Okay, now we're getting ready to connect everything. We got a ground on the bottom. On the incoming side, the commercial power source, we're going to be using 230 volts for your commercial power source. And here we got our cables prepped for this cable is going to be going to your batteries. So that is going to be your output side coming from the battery charger. And the 2 terminal rings is going to be connected to the battery charger terminal lugs. So right now we're going to connect the red wire to the positive output terminal going to the positive side of the battery, and then the black wire will be connected to the negative output terminal going to the negative side of the battery. This is after we have connected everything. So we have the black wire right here connected to the negative side of this battery, and then the red wire connected to the positive side of the other battery. Because it's a 24 volt series circuit, you could just either put it on the both batteries, or you could put it directly to the starter. So the positive wire on the starter, and then the negative wire on the negative terminal. Here is showing where the charger is connected and is charging the battery. So we get a total of 3.1 amps and 26.4 DC volts. Now that we're finished with the install, we're gonna do a functional test on the generator just to make sure it's turning on and it's working. And also we're going to check the ATS just to visually see that it is sensing emergency power. If you found this video interesting, please like, subscribe, and share.